Hey y'all, I'm going to go over your assignment for Thursday. Okay, so this assignment is twofold. First, you're going to reflect on your annotation method. You're going to review a document that I've annotated. You're going to watch a video of Ms. Humphrey annotating, and you're going to talk about what you like from both styles. Maybe you want to adopt some of it, maybe you don't. That's up to you. You're going to reflect on your own annotations here. Make sure you're being very specific. And so methods that you like to use, I do this because of this. Patterns. So for an example, for me, I circle things that really stand out to me. I underline things that I know I want to use in my writing. And then I connect them in the margins. This stood out to me because of, I want to talk about this in this way. On the left-hand side of my paper, I write very emotion words that are evoked while I'm reading. And then on the right-hand side of the paper, I focus on modes of development. How did the author do this? How did the author do that? And then I connect it to that emotional language so that I can help establish tone. That's just something that I do, but those are patterns. And then you're going to answer the rest of these questions. Here's your reflection. I'm going to give you a screenshot of my annotations. Ms. Humphrey is going to give you a video so that you can look at two different styles and talk about them and see why you think these styles work for us as annotators. Number 6 is where you are going to learn a specific annotation methodology and try to employ it in your own writing. So I'm going to switch over to that document. All right. Purposeful Annotations. This is from the Garden of English. So the beginning part discusses modes of development, what an author is doing. Remember, an author isn't doing all of these things every time, but authors do these things sometimes, and it's up to you to identify when. So we talked about cause and effect in the Leonard Pitts article that we read. He employed cause and effect quite a bit. There is narration, description, telling a story, problem solving, process analysis, compare and contrast, division and classification, separating things into categories. Definition, we've talked about extended definition. And then exemplification, providing really distinct evidence. This almost always happens. So these are modes of development, how an author develops their writing. And then we have the classical model. This is the classical model of argumentation. And so all authors do these things at some point. And so you are going to try and identify them. You're going to read about each one. There are 6, and you're going to try and identify them today. And then there are rules for reading. These are where you have distinct rules for how you are going to annotate the Chavez piece according to this methodology. So number 1, you're going to do these things while reading. It is actual things you need to do in your annotations while you're reading. Divide the text into readable sections. There is no correct answer to how many sections. This isn't a prescribed method. You're going to chunk it in ways that you think are readable. And then B, you're going to identify and mark discourse markers that suggest any shifts the speaker makes. So think about the Pitts article that we read. He had distinct shifts from audience to audience, tone. Those are shifts that I would want to annotate for because I would probably write about them. Anytime an author goes from doing this to totally switching and doing that, it is called a shift. As you read down the right-hand side of the passage, you're going to identify the particular section of text, how it would fit into the classical structure. Classical structure can be found here. Then on the left-hand side of the page, you're going to identify the speaker's modes of development. Remember, some sections of text may have qualities of different development methods. English is like nesting dolls, not like boxes. Things fit inside of each other. So we may use compare and contrast. We may use cause and effect. We may use an extended definition. We may divide and classify. We can do all of these things in our writing. You need to identify where they're at if they're present. And again, modes of development can be found here. You're going to finish this, and then after reading is when you look for tone. Remember, it's in your cat. You're going to identify the holistic purpose. Remember, that's the P in space. And then you're going to connect the purpose of your individual sections. So you chunked the writing into individual sections. Now think, why was the beginning